a rest, and this he's only he's not human, but he's only a person. Like he's only one guy. He can't save everybody. That's why he got a team. Hello. But anyway, after her wasting that time, she reads the vows. I'm not gonna say I hated some of the love scenes, but the part with Clark's vows, I gotta write down those vows so I can go use that on some girl and tell her that shit. You get the draws with those vows. Those vows was hot. I like those vows. I think every word he said in there was good. I was like, cause I like all that love shit, but so there's a time and place for that shit. But he was dead on point with that, and I need to go find a copy of them vows and use them one day, cause that shit was hot. But anyway, she read it, her panties get wet, and she falls back in love with Clark and she thinks, I'm stupid, cause I'm sitting here wasting Clark's time. So, after all this time has passed, Clark is running around, he sees his father, he sees his mom saying, you don't, why are you selling the house? Like, don't throw away our memories. Don't throw away Smallville. You're throwing away Smallville. Now, at this part, I was like, listen, what is it? Do you want Clark to leave Smallville? Do you want him to stay Smallville? What is it? Like, it felt to me like they was pulling him forward and pushing him back and pulling him forward. It was like a tug of war. Like, you gave him the deed to the house. You basically gave him the choice of whether he wanted, like, does he want to stay here? Does he don't want to stay here? You gave him that choice. If you want to leave, that's his fucking choice. You know what I'm saying? Nobody told you to give him the deed to the house. If you want to live there, you can continue to live there. Like, don't blame Clark for wanting to be the man he want to be. You should have been clear with your gift then. I would have took it the same way. Like, do you want me to sell this, or you want me to live here, or what is it? Like, that's common sense. But anyway, so the way Clark is acting makes it seem like he's trying to forget Smallville. He's trying to throw those feelings aside about Smallville and forget everything, and not forget what they taught him, but just to forget, leave that in his past. Leave Smallville in his past. And I was like, okay, Clark, you wanna do that, this and that. And his father is like sitting there, like trying to talk to Clark, trying to make Clark see that but Clark is he's not open to seeing Jonathan Kent yet. He sees him, but he doesn't see him yet. He don't see him. So Clark, he's telling his mom, listen, I don't know, you're gonna have to give up on Smallville too, like I did. Throw that in your memories, just like I had to do with Dad and Jarrell. I had to give up on them. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my destiny. This is not theirs. This is mine. So, Jonathan Kent is, he's trying to make Clark understand, and, Clark can't hear him yet. So Clark goes to the cemetery, tries to, see what he's supposed to do, but then he's still being stubborn about it. So Jonathan Kent, leaves Clark alone for a while. Oliver, he's fully Omega, and he embraces evil side, so now he was working for Darkseid. He found the gold kryptonite at the end of Prophecy, so now they made kryptonite rings. They made the gold kryptonite rings that will permanently take Clark's powers away. Which, I love Chloe, and this is why I love Chloe, because she was on point. Some of y'all was like, Chloe, why you like Chloe and this and that. She was on point. Like, think about it. Chloe is the only one I really like, just due to the fact that she's so on point with her shit. Like, who would have caught on to that? Honestly, who would have been sitting there eyeing them rings like that? Except for Chloe. Chloe, the second he opened the box, Chloe was like, those ain't the fucking rings. That ain't the fucking, that's not the ring. And she was watching and she was like, those are not the fucking rings. I know this nigga Oliver ain't trying to pull a fast one on us. And then when it came close enough to Clark's hand and she seen it sparkle, she was like, no. And I was like, you fucking right, Chloe. You slapped that ring out that nigga hand. So Clark is like, what the fuck, Oliver? You are no longer my best man. You try to get me killed up in this bitch. So Oliver turns evil. They have their little, fist fight, which I enjoyed their whole fight. I loved their whole fight. Their whole fight was great. Clark got thrown around. I especially like that part when Oliver threw Clark around and shit and slammed him into the pews. I was like, wow, that was hot. They're fighting. Clark, he gives that little speech. You're a hero. Show me how much you could be a hero, Oliver. And Oliver, gets on his knees and starts crying that black shit, and then regular tears come out. So he's free of the Omega, because it's not everybody, like he said, it's rare that happens. Like you can't actually, like, it's hard for that to happen. And Granny Goodness and them couldn't believe that he freed himself. And Oliver vanquished them. He got rid of Granny Goodness. The other two, he got rid of all them niggas, which I was proud of Oliver. But I ain't really care about them. I was mainly worried about Clark. So Clark, he goes to the house. He starts to see his father. He starts to see the planet Apocalypse in the sky. So he goes to the barn. He follows his father. His father have this talk. His father's telling him, listen, it's time. It's time, Me and your mother can't get you through this right now. It's time for you to let Jarrell show you the path. And I love seeing Clark and Jonathan Kent interact. I think, that's the best thing that they do, is interact with you. I love seeing them talk. Because it's like, that's like on some father and son shit right there. Like, like, I like that. It's like some wholesome, I love those moments where Jonathan Kent is always talking to Clark and letting him know. That's the same thing with Lazarus. I love that whole standing at the gate and he was talking to him. He was off the chain with that. So, after this, he talks to his father. His mom comes, talks to him, tells him the same exact thing. And Clark is ready. He's ready to embrace his destiny, and then, at this part, he goes and tries to find Tess. Now, he finds out Tess is abducted by Lionel Luthor. Now, Lionel Luthor, he tries to track him. He tries to track Lionel Luthor. In the last 15 minutes of, Lionel Luthor's signal that went out because of the planet Apocalypse is messing with the interference, so his signal went out. The last 15 minutes was at the Luthor mansion. So I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna rewind. Tess beats the hell out of most of these niggas in this laboratory because Lionel Luthor kidnapped her due to the fact that he wants her heart. They re-clone Lex and take all his perfect parts, all the parts that were perfect on Lex, and made one clone. Now, Lex is missing a heart. So, Tess beats the hell out of all these niggas. And Dead pulls some... She shot Lionel Luthor, which was totally unexpected. I did not know that was going to happen. I was shocked. I kind of fell out my seat at that point. I was like, oh! I fell out the fucking seat on that shit. So, at this point, she leaves, and Lionel, all he's worried about is Lex. And the whole time, let me stop for a minute. The whole time I was thinking, the whole time Lionel was talking to Tess, why he kept putting his fingers so close to her face? Like, he had his fingers all near her mouth, all in there. I was like, get your fingers out her mouth. What's wrong with you? Like, I was laughing about that shit. I was like, I kept thinking, like, imagine Tess just, every time he was so touchy and grabby on Tess. I was like, wow, what the fuck is going on with this family? Like, I was thinking, like, Tess should just say, get your fucking fingers out my mouth, man. Like, get your shit out my mouth. But, Lionel, he's worried about Tess. He's worried about Lex. So Darkseid comes and gives, and that was so epic. Darkseid, I like seeing when they do the Darkseid thing there. So high, I dead grin. I grinned. My cheeks was hurting that day. So Darkseid comes is like, listen, I want you to reconsider my offer. So he was like, the only person I knew I wasn't gonna live that long, but all I care about is Lex. So he's like, all right, for exchange of this shit, this little thing I'm gonna do for you, I want your soul. And Lionel gives up his soul, sells his soul gives his heart to Lex. So Darkseid rips his heart out of his chest and gives it to Lex, and he, uses Lionel as his vessel. So at this part, to fast forward, Clark and Lex see each other. Now, I'm so happy that they see each other. I'm so happy that they put this in there. I'm so happy that Lex is like, that's Lex. That's the Lex Luthor I know. Lex is talking to him. I miss Michael Rosenbaum. It was just so epic to see Michael Rosenbaum and to see him interact with Clark. I was like, wow. He went right back into it. It was just so magical, son. So at this point, Lex is like, we have a destiny together on different sides. And the only way this is gonna work is if you beat the oncoming apocalypse. So Clark is like, Clark is Clark. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, and this and that and the third, and he leaves. So now this is the point where he rushes to I believe Clark rushes to the fortress. Now he talks to Jor-El. He wants Jor-El to embrace him and this and that. He's glad that Jor-El, finally sees that he can be that hero. And like I said with the Lazarus episode, Jor-El just said that shit so Clark can prove him wrong. He only yelled at Clark at that point just to prove him, so Clark can prove him wrong. That's the only time Clark knows how to work, is when Jor-El says you can't do something. Is the only time Clark can actually do something. So, at this point, Clark is like, thank you, Father, for believing me. And Jonathan Kent shows up again. And it was so epic to see him hand the suit. It was like he was passing the torch to Clark. It was like, here's your suit. And I was like, wow, son, they did their thing, yo. I was totally happy about that shit. And then I was like, wow. At that point, I was like, wow, Smallville is ending. We got about 20 minutes of this episode right now. Smallville is really ending. So Clark, he's about to go say something to Jonathan Kent after he looks at the suit, but Jonathan Kent vanishes. So Clark, let me stop here. Rewind. Clark sees Darkseid in the barn, because at this point Clark is gonna rush to the fortress to see what Jor-El says. Takes the crystal out, see Darkseid. Darkseid and him have a confrontation, which I didn't like the fight a little bit. I can tell y'all the truth. I wish they would have had a longer fight. I kind of found it whack that he used Lionel Luthor to be his vessel, and I felt like Darkseid deserved more than Lionel Luthor. I think they could have at least used the digital camera shit when they were fighting. He could at least use that. I'd rather them have Darkseid, the shadow thing, standing and actually grabbing Clark and throwing him, and just use the digital shit. You know what I'm saying? Use your green screen. See however do it. Just don't. I felt like the fight was short and wasn't good enough. Once he threw Clark and Clark had them images and goes back to the fortress and he gets his flying abilities, I was like, I like that part, but I don't like the fact that the fight was so short. So Clark flies right into Darkseid and vanquishes Darkseid. Which I find I didn't like that part, but I was like, I'm so hyped right now about the episode, I don't even care. So, so, fast forward, Clark gets his suit, and the epic thing, he gets down on that knee, and he goes and flies, and I was like, I clapped. I fucking clapped. I was like, finally, you flew. Like, what the fuck was he doing all the time, nigga? You fly now. So, Clark flies, and as he flies, he does the whole change. Now, the change was hot. I like it. I like the change, You can see he pulled it up from the back, and, he had the cape on and everything. But, they didn't show Tom Welling with the cape, with the suit on, it would have been nice to see him like stand with the suit and gave a pose at least. That's the least I asked. But it was fine. I enjoyed. He bust through the ceiling of the fortress and became Superman. So now at this point he flies, and then it was a Superman Returns moment when Lois is on the president's plane, and it was going down, and Clark saved it, put the wing up. He did the whole Superman Returns thing, but a short version of it. So he sees Lois in the window, and he gives her that look like, yeah, bitch, I got the suit, I know you see it. So he kind of lets the plane fly off, and then they show you the little image of him just standing there with the cape, and it's flapping, and I'm like, wow, this is legendary right here. So at this point, I'm gonna skip ahead. He saves the Earth, he pushes the planet away, which I kind of found a problem with that, but anyways, I found a little problem with that. I didn't like the fact that he pushed the planet away. This is not Superman Returns, where he pushes the continent away. That big piece of meteor rock, he pushed the whole fucking planet away. Which is he strong enough to push a whole planet away? But anyways, if they would have used that part, used that whole section, after he saved Lois, he goes and fights Darkseid again. That would have been better. If he would have used that whole last part to fight Darkseid, I'd have fell out in my chair. Like, but it was good enough. I liked it. I loved the whole flying. Oliver, looking up the sky. Everybody was clapping when he saved them. And then they fast forward 7 years and start, with the whole thing. Lois, him and Lois are doing the secret marriage thing, but they haven't gotten married yet, but they planning to. So, they still, in love with each other, and it was just so magical, it was. And then, at this point, I'm gonna let my last clip show you what I'm talking about and why this episode was so magical. And it was this clip that made me go bonkers. Like, so Christopher Reeve, so Superman. I hope you guys love this review. Comment down below. Let me know. I will do a review on, something else late next week. And please just comment. Enjoy the last clip. I know I did. I repeated this clip like 5 million times. See you guys later. Peace.
There's a bomb in an elevator uptown.
Just Minister, I may be a few minutes late.